The women's NCAA tournament tips off today. Powerhouse program UConn is looking to cut down the nets for what would be their 13th national title. Wow. It's incredible how UConn won it all last year and had yet another undefeated season this year. The Huskies' return to the big dance includes their #1 star, Azzi Fudd, the most outstanding player in last year's tournament. Jan Crawford sat down with Fudd as the Huskies were preparing to make another run.
She's called an elite playmaker, a dynamic offensive and defensive threat, with a shot so perfect it's described as the purest in basketball.
But what word do you think your teammates would use to describe you?
I think they'd say resilient.
What word would you use to describe yourself?
This year I'd say confident.
Confidence after a year of meteoric success. 2025 Final Four's most outstanding player.
I don't even have words to describe this moment right now.
A podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Fudd Around and Find Out.
NIL deals and TV advertisements.
Thanks, friends. Thanks, family. Thanks, 13,000 Geico claim specialists.
Anytime.
When did you realize that you're really good?
I always kind of knew I was good. Well, not always. And I'd say in middle school, I knew I was good.
When did you get your first offer?
I got my first offer in 6th grade.
Azzi Fudd grew up in the basketball-rich Washington, D.C. area with a ball in her hands. Both her parents, she calls them her biggest fans, played in college, and they started working with her early.
My playground was in the gym when I was younger, just running around.
Her mom famously saran-wrapping her right arm so she would learn to use her left hand.
Did you love basketball, or is it something that you kind of grew to love?
Basketball was definitely something that I grew to love. When I first started playing, well, I didn't want to play. My parents made me play. And the first thing I immediately loved was my teammates. I loved my new friends. It wasn't until later that I really realized that I loved the actual game of basketball.
But her journey to the top of the game wasn't always certain. She came out of high school with pressure and high expectations. She was Gatorade National High School Player of the Year as a sophomore.
I'm just getting started.
And then the devastating lows. 2 ACL tears in her knee, a foot injury, multiple surgeries, and years of rehab.
I definitely had a few moments where I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get back to where I was or to play at UConn, to play at this level. There were a lot of days where it was hard for me to draw that strength, that confidence.
She credits her family and teammates with helping her pull through.
And I felt like that's when I really started to work on my faith and have some conversations with my teammates and be honest and vulnerable with them. It was like the weight was lifted off my shoulders.
How many double teams have we gotten down there?
UConn coach Gino Auriemma has coached the greats of the game, and he puts Fudd with the best.
To take the talent that she has, marry that with the discipline and the work ethic, and to have the injuries that she's had and not ever lose that discipline, that stick-to-itiveness. They're the ones that achieve greatness.
Fudd says despite all her setbacks, it was the struggle that got her to this moment.
If I had to go back and redo it, I wouldn't change anything. If I hadn't gone through what I did, if I hadn't struggled, if I hadn't been forced to learn and figure things out for myself, I definitely wouldn't be the person I am right now.
Amazing. I mean, can't wait to see what she does with her career because she's on fire.
She really is an amazing young woman. And you think about the family effort that it took to get her where she is. I'm cheering her on.
And
Crawford.
She's projected maybe to be the #1 for the WNBA draft. And as we just reported the other day, they're going to make more money. So we love it. Good things ahead for Azzi.
Crawford always bringing the heat on the women's basketball team.